Stray is a great game, especially when you realize that it's an indie game. But it's very close to being a AAA game. I enjoyed the music, the art design, and believe it or not, the gameplay. And I understand the gameplay wasn't something impressive. But because it was very cat-like, somehow it made everything better. But let's be real for a moment. I love this game because I love cats. I don't think it's hard to find other games that do everything better, but the main reason this game is a lot more famous is because of the cat. The game is not a platform game. You just go close to something and you press the jump button. I mean the button that you interact with stuff. I usually don't like that, but because it was with a cat, I kind of liked it. The combat is also not that impressive. You basically run most of the time or press buttons, and the only weapon that you will have is a UV light. But I got to play as a cat, so I didn't care. I'm not saying that the game would be bad if it had a human protagonist, but I don't think it will be this good. It was nice to play as a cat, and the developers of the game even helped fundraise some money for animal shelters and cat connected organizations. For now, I think this is the game that's the closest to playing as a cat. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the game is famous just because it has a cat as a protagonist. The game doesn't have a lot of things in it, but the things that they have, they are well polished and enjoyable. I love games that are short, well polished and fun, instead of games that are very long and has a lot of fillers. I prefer to replay a game because I like it too much instead of doing useless side missions or collectibles. Okay, Stray is a bad example because it doesn't have replay value, but it's a game that made me enjoy every second of the journey. It's not an open world and you don't have a lot of maps to play, but it was very fun to explore everything. And I prefer a map to be small and have a lot of interesting stuff in it, instead of a huge map with a lot of empty spaces, or a lot of copy-paste. Also, it was nice because with a map like this, you usually remember where everything is. So when an NPC tells you about a location, or about an item, you usually know where that is. If you don't, you should use the signs or the lights, because they will guide you, most of the time. If you play this game on PC, you should use a controller, because the game works best with a controller. And that's not really a bad thing, because the game is made for exploring. You don't really need to aim at stuff and use a gun or something like that. So a controller makes everything more chill. I didn't say anything about the story and I don't want to say anything about the story because this is the kind of game that you need to experience for the first time. I enjoyed everything about the game when I first played it because it has a lot of mystery. You don't know what will happen, you don't know what the story is, you don't know the environment and you don't know the NPCs. And because of the cat protagonist, the mystery, the story, the environment, the art, the lighting, I enjoyed everything the first time. And I try to recommend this game to everybody. But as soon as you experience everything in the game, all the locations in the game, all the enemies, all the friendly NPCs and ending, the mystery will disappear and a second playthrough will not be as exciting. I'm not saying that not having replay value makes it a bad game, because not every game has to have replay value. Also, I'm not saying that the game should be longer or have a lot more stuff that you can do in the game. But I would love to see other people experience the game for the first time. Also, let's not forget that this is an indie game and it was under $30 at launch. And most importantly, I didn't find any game-breaking bugs. something that you usually find when a game launches. So if you didn't play this game, you should try this chill adventure, playing as the cat protagonist, in a world full of robots, and a lot of darkness with neon lights. I think the developers did a great job and they made a beautiful game. And I will say it again, I love this game because it has a cat protagonist. And it is fun to play as a cat, to destroy stuff, to push stuff, to make cat noises, to jump and run like a cat. And even if you are not free to jump and you basically interact with stuff that will trigger your animation for jumping, it still felt like I'm playing as a cat. So yeah, being a cat lover makes the game a lot more enjoyable. And if you don't like cats, fuck you.